Hello, acoustic engineers. It's a pleasure to be here again. For those who don't know me yet, my name is Andrea and I'm one of the sales representatives of our international department. I hope you all can see me properly. If not, please leave a message. As you may know already, you can post a comment while we do this presentation in case you have any questions, okay? We will answer them as soon as we can. So what are we doing here today? We are introducing our acoustic solution AcouBAT by Cype. It is my pleasure to have my colleague Maria here again. She is our industrial engineer from the technical support department. She will lead us today through the most important points of AcouBAT. So Maria, thank you for doing this with me again.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
I'm sure some of our attendees today watched our last webinar together about Cype architecture, our free architectural tool. If not, and you're interested, hit me a message and I will send you the recording, okay? Just as a quick reminder, we always record our webinars. We are recording this right now, in fact, and in case you want to watch it again or you missed a part of it, here Maria is showing us our webinar gallery. In fact, I can see in the screen our last webinar, BIM software architectural design. So all these events are always published here, okay? So let's start from the beginning, as I always do. What is AcouBAT by Cype? AcouBAT is a tool developed by Cype and the CSTB. CSTB are the initials for the Scientific and Technical Center for Building. I'm sure most of you know about this important French organization. So AcouBAT uses the CSTB analysis engine and database in order to study the insulation and acoustic conditioning of buildings. As you can see in the screen, it calculates the indices that evaluate the insulation of airborne sound, indoor and outdoor, impact sound insulation, and the reverberation level in indoor spaces. It is really important as well to point out that AcouBAT is in accordance with the procedure contained in the ISO code you can see in the screen. Thank you, Maria.
You're welcome.
So right now, Maria is showing us the InfoCype website. Here you can find a lot of information about our solutions. In this case, we have AcouBAT. On the bottom part, you will see detailed information. Exactly. We also have our learning resources. Here you will find videos, tutorials, articles, all the webinars as well. Exactly. And
the handbook, sorry.
Yeah, those are the manuals and our catalogs as well. And I think you can also reach our technical support department here.
Of course, from here, yes.
Perfect. So for everyone, our email is support@cype.com in case you have any inquiries, or you can reach us as well through this. That's perfect. So as well, you can download, you can go to the main page, please. Exactly. You can see, as you can see as well in the center of the web page, we can see the BIMserver.center logo. If you click there, we are not going to do it right now, but you can download AcouBAT in our store from there. It's really easy. So AcouBAT by Cype is a tool that is introduced in the BIM workflow, so you can share all your projects in the cloud. Moreover, it's really easy and fast to learn. A couple of weeks should be enough to learn the basics of the program to start using it. So should we start, Maria? What do you think?
Yes, of course. Let's
Perfect.
open the program. Here, I have already opened an example.
Okay, perfect.
By Cype, in this case, of a healthcare center.
Healthcare center.
Yes. And well, you can see here the way the interface of the program, the way it looks. And before showing you with more detail, maybe I could say what is for me the highlights of the program.
Yeah, it will be great. I would like to say as well that the interface here it's quite similar to the other ones, isn't it?
It is.
So once you are familiar with one, it's even easier to learn the other ones.
Exactly. You have been seeing other seminars or other webinars that we have done in the past. Once you learn one program, the next one is easier, and that's it. We try to make the interface as user-friendly as possible and similar one programs to others. That's it.
So
Yes.
which are the main tabs in AcouBAT by Cype?
First of all, the fact that we have this huge materials library. This is, we click here in the AcouBAT library, we have access to more than 2,000 products that have their acoustic value set by the CSTB. We have all these materials of different parts of the constructive, I mean, like concrete walls and slabs, floor constructions, roofs, coverings, openings, all the elements necessary, even technical equipment.
So many. How many materials did you say you can find there?
Around 2,200 materials.
That's a lot.
It
But
is.
I'm gonna be a bit picky here. What if I don't find the material I want in this library?
No problem. I have a solution for that too. If you don't find the material here because it is not one of the brands, you don't want to use these brands or even the generic products that is already, in that case, no problem. You can create your own product by hand. Okay, and insert the values. Of course, we have options of copy and paste from a spreadsheet or even from programs like AcouSys. That is also from the CSTB. So everything comes together, okay? So we are connected to that also. So no problem about that. All you
Do I
need is
have
to
to
have these
create
values.
materials every time I start a new project?
Of course not, of course not. This is saved in your
Okay.
computer forever. Okay? Everything you do here will be saved. So in the next projects to do, in the new files, you will see the materials that you created and or edited, etc. And
Okay,
this
that's
is,
really
yes,
helpful and it saves you a lot of time.
totally.
Okay, perfect. So, and
Then,
what about the next? Is it all okay in the model tab?
yes, I think the main feature of the model, I think for me, it's the fact of this
The library.
preset information, exactly. And then about the analysis itself, what
Well, I
we
guess that the tab analysis, the most important thing is to analyze.
exactly, and what do we use for that? We use the engine developed by the CSTB. The name is AcouBAT, analysis mode. That's why the name of the program is AcouBAT by Cype. This program it has been done in collaboration with the CSTB. So that's a very powerful calculation engine. So that's the main part of the analysis. That. And then the third important thing about this program is that is totally integrated in the OpenBIM workflow. So it's ready.
That's really important as well. Yes, you're right.
Exactly. It's ready to read IFCs from any program that generates the necessary information. And of course, the results are exported to in this case, to the BIMserver.center, that is our platform. So it's totally in the BIM workflow. So that would be, if you ask me for three things, these are the three: the library, the calculation engine, and then the OpenBIM integration. Then
That's
there are many
perfect.
more things that maybe we can talk a little bit, but these are the main ones. Okay.
Nice. Could you show us maybe the reports? Maybe that's also important as well.
Yes.
Perfect.
Of course, I will. Look, here we are in the analysis tab of this file, and we have analyzed the file in very fast. In fact, I'm going to do it in front of everybody so you can see how fast it is. And you can see, for starters, an analysis summary. So here you have the histogram in a form of histogram, all the results. So very graphically, you can see how many spaces meet the requirements, how many not, depending on the type. You can see even with different what acoustic parameter we are seeing in that moment, the airborne sound installation against outdoor sound or between rooms, the impact sound process level, service equipment noise, etc. Okay, in form of graph table. So that's the first thing. The first visual thing you see is the results in that form. Of course, you can print the reports. That's what you asked me for doing, okay? The results report from here. And it can be in different forms. For example, we can get the summarized report. You will see here for each of the spaces all the results for the different calculations that have been done. Okay. For instance, for the room 1, the airborne sound insulation against outdoor sound, and in this case it's verified. And if another, the airborne sound insulation between rooms, in this case, for example, for the when the meter is the corridor door, is not verified. It doesn't matter in this moment if we are analyzing the building and taking the right decisions. Okay, so in this moment, some of the, for example, the impact sound pressure level, it doesn't meet the requirements. So that's what the report tells us. Okay, as you see, this is the summarized report, and you can export it to different formats. But maybe you want to see the results in more detail. It is also possible to see it with more detail one by one, and at the same time, this is done in a very graphical way. Because if you see now, for example, just in the 3D, there's these spaces in highlighted in orange. This is because
I can see it.
Okay, I have clicked that room in particular. So having done this, I am seeing all the results for this room as a receptor. I think it's, quite easy to understand and to analyze. It helps the acoustic engineer to analyze the building. Like, for example, here I can see the external sound. I can see exactly what elements have been are in contact with the exterior, and with much detail if the type of sound that I'm analyzing, okay, the direct, etc. In fact, I can even get the results exactly for that part, and I get the formula used and the values used for that, and the results in 1/3 and okay, like that for all of these frequencies, etc. So much. That's the complete report. You can get it also only as a table or only as a graph. Like that.
That's so nice. You can choose.
Yes, that's it. And of course, everything is all you see here can be exported to different formats or printed directly. So depending on your which much detail you need the results, you can get it. And again, well, this was the example for the external noise, but I also can see everything I have chosen, for example, the airborne sound insulation between rooms, and I can see exactly all the rooms that are meters in this case, and even if there's an indirect space that is in the calculation, this will be shown here also.
Yes, it is really graphic. You can see all the connections between rooms. Yes.
Exactly. Especially because sometimes the person who is doing the part in the acoustic using AcouBAT by Cype is not the same person who did the architectural model. Okay, exactly. So this gets very easy, very fast, and we know that in this time is money, and everybody needs more time. So in a very graphical way, you understand the building, you understand what is happening. In this case, for example, like from which rooms I have the problems of impact some level or whatever particular in a couple of minutes I understand the behavior of the building and exactly what's going on. And yes, and if you want to do a more detailed analysis, etc., you can get all the necessary reports. Okay, I just this was an example of a room where I was checking the insulation rates outdoor sound between rooms or sound pressure level, but I could also show you, for example, a restaurant. In this case, exactly here, I have a restaurant in which I'm also checking the reverberation time. For instance, well, you can see the kind of everything I can calculate. Okay.
Yeah, that's amazing. How do you get these magnitudes? I can see there.
Good question. Because you see here these columns, you see
Yes, those ones.
certain values of first the magnitudes assigned I want to check, and then the results. All of this can be set by the user. Okay, this is not something fixed. It's something that the user can modify depending on what needs to do.
How can the user modify this?
Here, in general parameters.
General parameters.
Yes, if you click in this button, then you will be able, first of all, to change in design options the magnitudes you want to use. So if you see here, there's one set, but you could choose another. No problem at all in doing that, okay? So you will, depending on your country or the specifications for that particular building, you're able to change this. That's for the first step, okay? What magnitudes you want to measure. The other very important thing, okay, that you see here, this column is here because this is what has been chosen in the design options. This will be the first step, the magnitudes, and then is what is the limit? Why is the program telling me that in this case is 30 decibels the limit, or other values in other cases? This is done because I told the program that in the definition of the type of spaces. Here we have,
okay.
Yes, that's it. That's something, a property of the spaces. I can create as much types of spaces as I need. And a type of spaces basically means that it's a space with some requirements. So, for example, I have created a space I call protected that has when acts as receiving space from outdoor sound, the limit for the airborne sound insulation against outdoor sound is 30 decibels. So that's why the program is checking this value. But I could change from a range of values depending on my needs. And that's why, for example, remember I showed you the restaurant. The dining room was defined as a restaurant, and that's why in that space I was checking for the reverberation time. And again, this is very, it has a lot of possibilities. You can do it by a certain time or using different equations. So, I mean, I think it's quite flexible in the ways of limiting or telling you can tell the equation you want to use in order to measure the reverberation time. Okay, and the same for if you want to measure that considering that it is unfurnished or with furniture, etc. So yeah, I think it's quite complete. It is, and well, the first part of this is that you can also set the interaction between the space types. Okay, so first you create the space types. As I said, you by hand you can create as much spaces as you need, and then the other thing is tell the program how you want them to behave. So, for example, what happens if I have two protected spaces? one next to the other. So in that's set here in a very intuitive table. You can set when you have a receiver, a certain type of space as a receiver, depending on the source, what limits you want to apply.
Okay, so you first say the space type and then you say the interaction between those spaces. Okay.
That's it. That's it. And also a very important part, the fact that we have use units. That's something that, I mean, that you can group spaces in the same use unit. And you know that, for example, if it was in a healthcare center or a hospital, for example, the room and the bathroom, if it's inside the room, would be considered as the same use unit. So that's totally possible and easy to do with this program. Or the same with buildings. You can set that all in a multifamily building, for instance, each dwelling would be a use unit. So that's another thing. One use of this program.
Okay.
Okay.
So I forgot to ask you before, but where did you get this geometry model I can see in the left bottom?
Okay. Look, this geometry that I'm reading, in this case, the healthcare center, you see, if we go to model, there are questions about the materials, etc. But here, we are not drawing. We don't draw here. This is not a drawing program. In this, AcouBAT by Cype requires an IFC that comes from an external program. Okay.
Okay. So how do you get this IFC file?
There are many ways of doing that.
Okay.
So, for example, one way could be using one of our programs, Cype Architecture or IFC Builder, for instance, and then exactly you could create the geometry from these programs, and then depending, for example, IFC Builder generates the analytical model directly, so you could go from IFC Builder to AcouBAT by Cype. Sorry, in brackets, I'll do a little comment because maybe most of the people, I suppose, already know what is an analytical model, but just in case, a brief comment.
Yes, please.
Okay, because while everybody knows what's an architectural model, the result you could get with programs, Cype Architecture, Revit, ArchiCAD, AllPlan, etc. But what is an analytical model? Well, an analytical model is an architectural model plus certain elements that are very important for acoustic analysis and energetic analysis. What is that information? Well, that information is the surface, internal and external surfaces, and also the edges. When we are doing acoustic analysis, that's really important because we analyze not only the direct transmission between spaces, but also in the flanks. And in order to do that, we need the edges, for instance. Okay. So we need to be more specific. AcouBAT by Cype needs an analytical model. Okay, it needs an IFC with that can be called analytical model. So in order to do that, if you are using Cype Architecture or an IFC generated by ArchiCAD, AllPlan, or Revit, that can, okay, so for example, you upload the IFC using IFC Uploader, that would be one way. Or if you already have, if you have the Revit license, and you could install this plugin from a platform and start a project directly from Revit. In those cases that you see here, before using AcouBAT by Cype, you have to use OpenBIM Analytical Model, which is one free tool from Cype, and later on I'll explain you a little bit how it works. Okay, but a very easy tool in order to solve to make sure that the IFC has all the information that AcouBAT by Cype requires.
Okay, so I would like to point out that OpenBIM Analytical Model is totally free, as well as the other tools you have told us before, like Cype Architecture, IFC Builder. I think that's really important.
It is, exactly. Depending on your situation, you can use any of those. And yes, no problem. You can download it from the store.
Yes, that's our BIMserver.center. That's the store. You just search it there. And
For
that's it.
example, is a very popular app, and from here you can, if you download the plugin, you will be able to create the project from here.
That's easy.
I think so too.
Perfect. So, is there anything else you would like to say about AcouBAT?
I think could be better if I show you real examples so people understand how I got here, so how the health center was here, okay? Maybe I can
Yes,
show you with the real, okay? Because I just talk about it but didn't show it. So, for
exactly.
example,
When you showed us AcouBAT before, the project was already there. The geometry, the model was already there. Yes.
okay, so I'll show you. Look, here I have Cype Architecture. If somebody doesn't know this program, please take a look at the webinars, etc., because it's a very good program, okay? And here we have created this architectural model with all the different floors, architectural elements such as the walls, floor slabs, and of course the spaces, okay? So from here, yes, this is a 3D program, and allows also the user to work in 2D if they prefer in these projections, okay? So, for example, I'm just going to give a little explanation of the how this file is. This is a healthcare center, so it has in the ground floor some meeting rooms and corridors, halls, etc. And then it has well, it has rooms that includes include a toilet, for example. It has this kind of distribution, the typical distributions in sanitary buildings, hospitals, etc. Okay, so just a little comment, a little look at this, so you get an idea of the distribution, etc. Okay, a very important thing is that, well, the program from here you create the rooms. And a new feature of this program is that now you can even see in a glance, take a little look at all the spaces that are in this building and even check in which level they are and the surface area. Okay, so from this program, from Cype Architecture, what I did was, of course, the file is connected to a project. In this case, a project called Healthcare Center, and I just had to export to the platform by clicking here in Share. Okay?
That's it.
Just like that. So once I did this step of sharing from Cype Architecture to the platform, then the next step was to open BIM analytical model.
Okay.
Okay. So in this program, what you do is to generate the analytical model. There's an automatic tool for doing that. And in a matter of seconds, you get this. Then if maybe you have to amend some surfaces or anything that hasn't been created or defined accurately from the origin program, and very easily you can do that. And then when that is finished, one thing that you can do optionally, but in my case I decided to do, was to create space groups.
Space groups.
Yes,
Would you reckon that's one of the most important things in the analytical model?
I think it's important because it saves you a lot of time. Okay. Because you know, as for example, as I told you that there can be different spaces that you want to group in the same unit use. If I can do this directly from analytical model. So, for example, for this building, you see here, I edit. I created a use units for rooms. For example, these ones are that don't have toilet. But for example, the room 3 has a room and a toilet 5, 9 toilet 5. So I group that in the same use units. So when I go to AcouBAT by Cype, I have this already. I'll show you very briefly, okay? If let's accept here. And the same, just a comment, I could create different groupings depending on what I'm going to do next. So maybe, for example, for energetic simulations, maybe this case would have only one group. If everything is going to be refrigerated or having heat at the same time, or maybe one per floor. Okay, so that's something, it's a tool that can be interesting, the fact of grouping spaces, okay? And this has been really, I did it really fast. And then when I went to share, that was the next step, okay, to share to the platform.
Okay.
Then I went to AcouBAT by Cype, and I want to show you how this looks when it's totally empty, okay? When I just open AcouBAT by Cype, create a new file, and link to the project. In this moment, because I think a lot of people have this question, I wanted to show everyone how this is really done, okay? What
It's
happens if
nice
I
to
do?
show the BIM workflow.
I think so too, because it's good to know what could be empty, what information is already in the program, and what information is asked the user to do. Okay, so
Exactly.
if I do an empty job, a new file, okay, in AcouBAT by Cype, linking to the project using the analytical model, which is the result of OpenBIM analytical model, this is exactly what I get. I get a library of the building that has a lot of exclamation points or marks because it's not defined. The program knows that I have these types of spaces, but they are not defined in terms of acoustic values of what requirements I have, etc. Or the same, I have the references of the facades, but I don't know the materials used for these elements. Okay, so that's the way it looks. And I don't want to forget this. Here, can you see this? The use units. Here, I have already these use units that are composed. For example, the C03, the room 3 use units, is composed of the room 3 and the toilet 5. So this has been done automatically. Of course, I could make changes from here or decide to group differently if I want. No problem. Okay, there are options here, but it's easier if I do that from OpenBIM analytical model. Okay, in this case, I wish, it's really fast. I cannot do everything today because we don't have a lot of time, but I promise you that it's really fast. And then
Yes,
you can see here all the information that is automatically read by the program. We know the area, the volume, and all the constructive elements that are in contact with this room in particular. So you get an idea of the time we save by this. This has been done, all the flanks, etc. Everything is done automatically. I didn't need to do anything else, or the adjacencies are read automatically because this is a good analytical model. And I say that it's good because I have corrected, I have checked it from here. OpenBIM analytical model tells me that the program, if the file is good, to be read in the next program. So I'm sure that it's good.
No,
Okay?
that's really easy and helpful.
Yes, I'm sorry. I think so too. So first of all, that I have read automatically all the geometry. That's what I meant with the geometries. Okay, so that's everything. You don't have to be worried about that anymore. The program has read the adjacencies, the level of the different spaces, etc. So that for that part, everything is all right. The info that I need to give the program is about first what requirements the spaces will have and the interaction between them, and of course what units I want to use. that's here in general parameters. Okay, so that's the moment where I will go to general parameters and decide first, the magnitudes I want to use, and then define the spaces, etc. Because at the beginning it's empty. Okay.
Exactly.
So I could create this for this file, or if I have done it before and save it in my computer, I just have to import it. I have something that I did before, so that's why I have this list of spaces and the interaction between the spaces.
Exactly.
So now it's really, now it's really intuitive to continue. I just have to say, for example, imagine that from a list of spaces, what do I want to do with the rooms? That again, as you see here, the program is telling me where they are. And so that's helping me, okay? I always know, know where I am in the building, okay? So how many spaces of that type I have. And in fact, this, imagine this, for example, okay, this room, I have to say that, for example, the room, the type of room, what is defining excluding or defining? Is defining. I want to make to check the acoustic values in these spaces. So I choose define, and now I have to choose from the list of types that I have in general parameters. For a room, I want to say that it's protected.
That's it.
And there are one thing that I want to say, because I get a lot of questions from users about this. Some people think that they need to give properties to each of the rooms. And sometimes they do very big buildings and are worried about that. And one thing that is important, see how fast I have done this. If you tell the same, if you define as the same type all the spaces that have the same requirements, like that, I define it all the rooms as a type room, and in one step, I have the definition for all of them. Okay, then one would be room one, room two, etc., and so on. But this has to be done only once. And the same, imagine the dining room, for instance, I would say it's defined, and it's a restaurant which has what I want to check in a restaurant. This, I would do that for all of them, okay? And then the other step is to give the properties to the materials.
Okay.
Okay, so to the constructive elements, is to assign the constructive elements to the different elements. So, for example, facades. Remember that before I show you the AcouBAT library?
Of course.
AcouBAT library? Okay. The one thing that is interesting for me is that here you see the AcouBAT library, the total AcouBAT library, okay, with all the options that it has. Okay. But
more than 2,000 materials?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay, with all the values from different brands, generic, whatever you prefer. All measured in the laboratory. Okay, as you can check it one by one. The source
so all
of
these
that information.
materials have been measured before.
Exactly. That's one very important point. Okay, but when you go to for example, to facades, if you click here, the program will guide you. So now, if I click in CSTB, I only see elements that can be used as facades. So it helps me quite a lot, I think, to do it faster.
It's really well organized.
I think so. Here, for example, you can see materials that I created in another day, for example, talking about that, okay? So you see, I didn't do it today. I did it another day, and this is safe forever, as long as I don't delete it, okay? It will be forever in my computer, right? So, yes, here I could use the material I want. And it's not only the base elements, but also internal linings, or, okay, external lining. If we are talking about the floor slabs, one thing that it's interesting too. I have the definition. I can define, of course, the the floor slab as the base element, but also the top lining and the bottom lining. So, I mean, you get the complete definition of the building, right? And well, that's I would do for all the elements. Okay, another thing that this is a real question that I had in the past. Somebody asked me.
Okay.
We received the question in the technical support department about the possibility of adding air inlets in the windows. Okay, it is totally possible to do and easy to do. You can, of course, define the window, the type of the glass, etc., of the window, but also to define if it has an air inlet. And we have a library of that, as you can see here.
Wow.
And anyway, I mean, generic from brands, and also there's the possibility to create your own. Okay, no problem at all. And talking about that, this is different, but now that I have this open, we even have elements from the HVAC installations. So, I mean, this is very, very complete, okay?
There are so many possibilities in here. That's really, really helpful.
Yes, even about the equipment, etc. So, well.
But I think that's the most important thing, Maria. Would you like to explain anything else?
Well, I think I have, of course, we could spend a lot of time in detail, and I really like the program, and you know me.
Yes, of course, I know you.
Okay, so
we know each other.
But I think for now is enough. Maybe what I would say, well, yeah, one thing I don't want to forget. Sorry.
Okay, one more thing.
One more thing, please. One more thing. That just a little comment about the other type of. I mean, of course, you could use Cype Architecture, a very good program, but also there's the possibility of using IFC Builder. IFC Builder is a program
that's from Cype as well, free as well.
Exactly. And if you're going to do only acoustic calculation, for example, or I don't know, for many reasons, it can be useful also, okay? And I don't want to forget this program. IFC Builder is, you work always in 2D, but of course you generate the 3D view and the IFC, and as a matter of fact, is directly an analytical model. This program also has the ability to create group of spaces. So as the same as I told you about analytical model, this also lets you create this aggregation of spaces. So you can see, for example, for this hotel, how we were grouping, well, for this, the 105, it was the bathroom, the room, and the balcony, because this is this kind of building, okay? So it's also possible to do that. In this case, we share from IFC Builder to the platform, and directly I would open a new file in AcouBAT by Cype, connecting to that, and I would get, where do I have this? Hotel, here it is. Here I would have.
Okay, so easy. That was quick.
Exactly, and you can see, of course, I would have to give the definition for the spaces, facades, etc., as we did before. But again, you can see how this is done, and well, if somebody wants to know more about this hotel in particular, we have a webinar where we talk about this file. But just remember that this program is free and available for everybody. And as final thing, I think the best way of learning how to use the program is using it. Okay, so my advice is to download the program, and you can, when you open the program, you can always have a look at the examples. So,
exactly, we do have some examples.
We do. So here you have, as a matter of fact, the hotel. So anybody that wants to take a look can open the hotel, or even, so there are smaller buildings also, but whatever you prefer, and you can take a look and see if, well, play a little bit with it, okay?
Exactly.
Okay,
So
so
perfect. I think that's all, Maria. What do you think?
I think so too.
Perfect. So as you all have seen, AcouBAT is a really helpful tool. Just a couple of clicks and you will get the reports in order to evaluate the installation of a building. AcouBAT uses the analysis engine from the CSTB, as well as its material library. And moreover, you can import your project from any program. So many advantages, isn't it? You know as well that we always like to launch discounts related to our events, and this time we would like to offer you a 30% discount. Exactly 30%. This discount is only applied for the month of October 2022, so hit me a message for more information or to any of my colleagues. And don't forget that if you need more information about our solutions, you can always visit our InfoCype website that I think Maria showed us before at the beginning of this webinar. And if not, we always have our technical support department there to help you out. Their email, if I'm not wrong, is support@cype.com. Pretty easy. I will repeat it for you if you want, support@cype.com. So now I would like to thank you all for attending this webinar today. Maria, thanks for showing us AcouBAT today.
You're welcome.
I hope we can do this together again.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, Maria. So see you next time.
See
Bye.
you. Okay,
See ya.
bye-bye.